Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm going to be doing a Rescue Ace deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play, especially with its crazy powerful boss monster, Rescue Ace Turbulence, which is actually a +4, which is just absolutely crazy. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting you to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of Rescue Ace Turbulence. This card is a crazy powerful boss monster for this deck, because this card is actually a walking +4 every single turn. It has the ability you can banish 2 Rescue Ace cards from your graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, so it's super easy to put on your side of the field. And then during your main phase, you can set up to 4 Rescue Ace quick play spells and normal traps from your deck with different names, which is a crazy awesome effect just to instantly get 4 cards onto your side of the field along with this really powerful boss monster. It also has a great effect that if another card that you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, except during the damage step, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it, which is a really awesome effect to be able to use with this card, but this card is absolutely nuts. We then play 2 copies of Rescue Ace Fire Engine. This card is an awesome extender for the deck, and I feel like 2 copies is totally fine, because if a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special summoned to your field, except another copy of this card, then you can special summon this card from your hand. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's side of the field, then you can special summon 1 level 4 lower Rescue Ace monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, which is just an absolutely incredible effect. We then play just a single copy of Fire Attacker. I feel like 1 Fire Attacker is totally fine. This card is also a really good extender for the deck, because if a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special summoned to your field, then you can actually special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field, which is a great effect. And if a card is added to your opponent's hand except by drawing it, then you can draw 2 cards and then discard a card, which is a pretty good effect, but I feel like your copy of Fire Engine is just a little bit better. We then play 3 copies of Rescue Ace Impulse. Impulse is insane. This card is definitely a 3 of in the deck, and one of the best cards in the entire deck. Now during your main phase, you can choose the effect, 1 effect monster that your opponent controls with the highest attack, your choice if it's a tie, and neither player can activate that monster's effect on the field this turn. And then when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or face it from the field to special summon a machine Rescue Ace monster from your deck, which is an awesome effect to instantly get your copy of Hydrant off this card's effect. This card is definitely a 3 of in the build. We then play 3 copies of Airlifter. Airlifter is really good as a 3 of in the deck to go along with the rest of our Rescue Ace cards, and it has a great effect that if it's normal or special summon, you can add a Rescue Ace spell from your deck to your hand, which is great to be able to search your field spell off this card. This card also has a great ability that when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or face it on field to special summon a Rescue Ace monster from your hand except another copy of this card, which is just a really good effect instantly get one of your Rescue Ace monsters on the field. We then play 3 copies of Rescue Ace Hydrant. This is a card that you always want to get on the field because this card is just absolutely insane with your spells and traps, and it's actually really easy to put this card on the field, because while you control a Rescue Ace monster other than Rescue Ace Hydrant, then your opponent's monsters cannot target this card for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. And you can only use the following effects card once per turn, that you can activate quick play spells and trap cards that were set by the effects of your Rescue Ace cards a turn that they are set, and during your main phase, you can actually add a Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to give you access to all of your different Rescue Ace cards that you need. But this card is just amazing because it works well with your copy of Turbulence, because it basically gives the water to your copy of Turbulence so you can actually use the cards that you set on your side of the field off of Turbulence's effects instantly instead of having to wait a turn, which is really good. It speeds up the deck a lot, and this card is actually super easy to get on the field in this build. We then play 3 copies of the Gizmek Sunrise. Gizmek Sunrise is basically like 3 more copies of Hydrant. You can actually tribute a machine monster whose attack equals its own defense, which is going to be this card, to special summon your deck 1 machine monster whose attack equals its own defense, which your copy of your Hydrant actually has 0/0, so it does equal its own attack and defense, so it's very easy to actually put that card on the field with your copy of the Gizmek Sunrise, which is just such a good effect to be able to use in this deck, and it's basically just 3 more copies of Hydrant. We then play 2 copies of the Therion King Regulus. This card is a walking negate, which is why we play this card as a 2 of in the deck. It's very easy to get to because this deck does make rank 4s a little easy, so it's very good to be able to make a copy of Merrymaker and then your copy of Gigantic Sargus, and then be able to search this card directly from the deck, which is really amazing in this particular build, especially with how easy it is to be able to get a machine monster in the graveyard. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is a fantastic hand trap just to stopping your opponent from touching the deck, and it's a really good card in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird is really good right now, and this card just basically stops your opponent from searching for the rest of the turn, which is really amazing to be able to use, and this card is just fantastic in this format. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start off with a single copy of Rhoda. This is a machine and a warrior deck, so it's very easy to use this card to get the exact warrior that you need on your side of the field by searching it with this card. We then play a single copy of 1-for-1. This is basically just another copy of Hydrant. This card is very easy to use in this deck to instantly get to your copy of Hydrant from the deck. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is a great one-up, just as stopping your opponent from hand-trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Rescue. Rescue is really good and a card that you can actually set to your side of the field off your copy of Turbulence, but this card is always treated as a Rescue Ace card, and it has the ability to target a Rescue Ace monster in your graveyard, or if you control Rescue Ace Hydrant, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard instead, and special summon it to your side of the field, which is amazing that you actually get so many bonus effects depending on which Rescue Ace monster you have on the field. For example, if you have Hydrant, you get those bonus effects, which is just amazing for this deck. We then play 2 copies of Alert. Alert's really good as a 2 of the deck because this card is great because it's always treated as a Rescue Ace card, and you can actually add a Rescue Ace monster from your graveyard to your hand, or if you control Rescue Ace Hydrant, you can add a Rescue Ace monster from your deck to your hand instead, essentially being the Rhoda from the deck if you have your copy of Hydrant on the field. We then play just 2 copies of HQ. I feel like 2 copies of HQ is perfect in the deck. You don't really need any more than 2 of the field spell because it's so easy to get to, but this card has the ability that while your opponent controls a monster, all Rescue Ace monsters that you control gain 500 attack and defense, which can actually help you OTK your opponent really easily. And then during your main phase, you can normal summon a Rescue Ace monster in addition to your normal summoner set, which is great to give you that additional normal summon, which is just really good. And also has the ability once per turn, you can target 4 of your Rescue Ace cards that are banished from the graveyard and shuffle them back in the deck, and then draw a card, so you can actually use Turbulence's effect again to be able to recycle your cards so you can set them back to the field with Turbulence, which is just really good. This card is amazing in the deck, and you always want to get this card on your field so you can recycle your cards. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with a single copy of Extinguish. Extinguish is really good as a 1-up, but you only really need a single copy of this card. It has a great ability. This card is always treated as a Rescue Ace card, and if you control a Rescue Ace monster, you can target an effect monster that your opponent controls and destroy it. Then if you currently control Rescue Ace Hydrant, your opponent cannot activate the effects of that destroyed monster or monsters with the same original name this turn, which is insane to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Reinforce. Reinforce is a great 1-of in the deck, and I really like this card that we got out of Cyberstorm Access, but I feel like 1 is totally fine. It has the ability this card is always treated as a Rescue Ace card unless you target a Rescue Ace monster that you control, and for the rest of this turn, that monster you control gains 1500 attack and defense, and it's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. And the next time it would be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed. This card is great to combo with your copy of Turbulence because Turbulence starts out 3000 attack points, and this will actually boost it up to 45, which can match a Blue Eyes Ultimate, which is just really good. It also has the ability you can manage this card from your graveyard, target to rescue a spell in your grave, and set it back to your side of the field, which is a really good effect to be able to just instantly get one of your spells back to your side of the field. But this card is an incredible one-of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Contain. I feel like Contain is definitely a 2-of, and it's one of the best traps we have in the deck. And this card always is treated as a Rescue Ace card. And if you control a Rescue Ace monster, you can target an effect monster that your opponent controls. And this turn, that effect cannot be that effect monster cannot attack. Also, its effects are negated, which is a really insane effect. And if you control a Rescue Ace Hydrant as resolution of this effect, that monster also cannot be used as material for a Fusion, Synchro, Exile, or Link monster this turn, which is basically like a main deck D-barrier that is searchable for 1 monster, which is just really insane. I love this card in the deck as a 2-of. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is just a great hand trap at stopping your opponent's monster effects, especially backed up with all the Rescue Ace spells and traps that you play in this deck. And this card is just insane in the deck to be able to lock down entire columns for spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of the Fire Charmer. The Fire Charmer is really good because we basically play just fire in the main deck, except for our Gizmet card. So this card is very easy to put on our side of the field and can help us link climb into some really powerful monsters. We then play a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is really good because this card is basically a kaiju from the extra deck, which is really good because you can actually use your opponent's monsters for material for this card. Then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is just a great boss monster to put on your side of the field and pop multiple cards on the field to help you go in for game. Then play a single copy of Boral Sword. Boral Sword's insane in this deck because it helps you OTK your opponent. And the really cool thing about this extra deck is you don't go into all that much. It's basically just a bunch of toolbox cards in the extra deck that you can go into if you need to, which is really cool about this deck. This card is great in the deck because it helps you OTK. Then play a single copy of the Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is very easy to put on your side of the field. If it destroys a monster for a battle, it gains 1500 attack, or it can make a second attack during the next battle phase, or it can banish a card from the field instantly, which is really cool, and it doesn't even target. Then play a single copy of Nightmare Unicorn to spin stuff, 1 copy of Phoenix to pop spells and traps, and a single copy of Cerberus to pop monsters. And then play a single copy of IP Masquerena. Masquerena is really good in the deck because it helps you link summon into your copy of Unicorn during the opponent's turn. 1 copy of Linkribo because we do play level 1s in the deck, so this card does help you out a little bit. 1 copy of Salamangreat Alamirage. This card is insane in the deck as a 1-of because you can link away a monster that was normal summon with 1000 or less attack, which will give you protection with this card, which is just really good. We then play a single copy of Relinquished Anima because this card can help you gobble up monsters that it points to, which is really insane. We then play a single copy of Merrymaker. You play Merrymaker in the deck because you're always going to immediately after you summon Merrymaker, summon out your copy of Gigantic Champion Sargas, search out a copy of your Therion King, and then after you do, you can actually attack with this card, and then once you do, you can make Zeus during the main 2, which is really good in this deck to be able to make Zeus because it's just a board wipe. Plus, for just 2 rank 4s or 2 level 4 monsters, you can actually make 2 2800 bodies on your side of the field, one of which being a Walking Negate, and you don't even have to detach, and it gives you a 4 material Zeus, so it's a definite play in this deck. So that's it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely tell me what you think of this deck down in the comments down below, because this deck is super fun to be able to play, and because it has so many pluses in this particular deck, especially off of Turbulence. Turbulence is just a crazy powerful boss monster to be able to put on your side of the field. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and everything, become part of notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.